So if you saw my last video, you know the question on my mind is what's going to survive the freeze. That freezes tonight. It's supposed to get to 23 degrees, so I want to see how cold does it actually get tonight. So I'm out here by the apricot tree, and that's going to be the focus of this experiment today. So what I've got here are some temperature sensors. This one here is kind of the master sensor, and it has its own temperature display on the bottom, also shows humidity, and then the top here can bounce between 3 different sensors. I just have 2 additional that I've very fancily labeled here. But these will store that information, their minimums and maximums. And I can come out and get that information in the morning. And I also remembered that a while back, in my last property, I actually had a small peach tree I wanted to protect. And what I got for that, I believe the idea of this was for it to be kind of an insulating blanket. It has a drawstring here, and you try and capture as much of the tree as you can, and then this drawstring should tighten up around the trunk or whatever branch you're trying to protect. So if I just get this on part of the tree, I mean, that could show forth later if I get apricots on some of it and not on the other. And I also am going to have those temperature sensors, one in it and one outside of it, and maybe we'll see the effect of having a different minimum temperature. So, you know, hopefully we get some good information off of this to know if this is actually helpful, if it actually stops it from getting as cold. Now, I should have put this on earlier in the day. Since we don't have much sunlight left, it's not going to increase the heat very much in there. But I'm going to go ahead and get this put on, seal it up tight. But before I do that, I'll put a sensor inside of there, just attach it to one of the branches so we can get recordings from that. And then I'll come back out in the morning and we'll see what those temperatures are and compare that. All right, so I only got the one main branch on this side done. There are still these other 2 branches here. About equal height in here is the first sensor, and the second sensor's out here. And I just attached that 3rd sensor to the blueberry bush over there. Just so it'll be close enough to record the measurements and not be on the ground or anything. Initial reaction to putting this on there is that it's not a great idea whenever something's already in bloom. I lost plenty of these down here. And there's not really much choice to that, especially with the wind just blowing everywhere. So it made it really difficult to keep that in place. Last year I did try this same idea with our sour cherry, but it was so late into the season that I don't know if it was just because it was so far gone already or anything like that, but it didn't work. So I don't have a lot of high hopes here, but since we are on this temperature that's the verge between that, you know, we should at least be able to get that data, see if there's that temperature difference in or out, and then, you know, that'll tell me if I should ever even try using this again, or if I should, you know, cut it up and maybe use it for covering raised beds or something instead for cold weather crops. So right now we're at 40.5 inside of the blanket and 39.6 outside, so maybe we are getting some heat. We'll check back in the morning. Weather app told me it was 18 degrees this morning, and not really sure how accurate that is to what we've got here, so let's find out. All right, looks like it's 56.8 inside of that cloth cover and 48 outside of it. Looks like the minimum inside that cover was 17.1 and outside of the cover 18.5. So it was actually colder. So obviously it's not the best, most conclusive evidence here on whether or not that works. So we're just gonna have to do the old-fashioned way and just see how much of a crop we get on that branch compared to the rest. See if we notice a difference at all. Kind of don't anticipate a huge difference just because it seems the temperatures were about the same in or out of it. All right, well, it's April 19th and I wanted to just show you these apricots here. Looks like they're coming on, and looks like we have several. This lower limb has them. The limb over here has them. The limb that I covered up here seems to have plenty on it. But then this uncovered limb over here also seems to have several. So I guess I would say our first test here wasn't conclusive because we've got decent fruit on all of the tree here. And there isn't a particular spot that seems to have been damaged or that seems to have survived better than the rest. Well, it looks like we're gonna get the test one more time here. The next few nights are all looking to be somewhere between 28 and 30 degrees. So I am gonna go ahead and pull that cover out here again. We'll go ahead and get that covered up now so it can pull in that extra heat, and then hopefully we'll see that at least the covered branch will still have some fruit at the end of all of this. And of course I'll be tracking temperatures, trying to see just how low we actually get out here. All right, well, did it work? Did this cover actually protect anything? Got down to 27 degrees while we had little fruitlets on here. So let's take a look, see if anything survived. I don't see anything on the outside here that survived. Looks like things got fairly well damaged. So maybe there's a few I haven't seen that are okay, but I can't see any at the moment. So I'm gonna just assume we lost everything that wasn't covered. Well, I will come back out and I will update you all if I find any that I missed in the future. But it looks like all of these also died that were in here. So I guess my first apricot year will have to be next year. But we did learn from all of this that the cover doesn't seem to be effective at all. Maybe it's effective for certain applications or in other ways. But at least out here, 27-degree night doesn't seem to have saved any of this fruit. Overall, not impressed with this. Didn't find it to be effective, at least not on a night where we had rain and snow. Maybe without precipitation it could have done something. Maybe if the day was sunny beforehand, it would have worked. But at least with the night we had, it was not effective. So I probably won't try it again in the future unless it's a situation where I don't have another option. But at least with this apricot tree, it didn't do me any good this year. The blooms, where I'd protected over here last time versus over here, I think I had more fruit set on this side than over here. So I don't even think it helped set more fruit initially or save more blooms during that time. So will I use it again? Probably not. And was I satisfied? No. But maybe it has a specific application that it would work fine for, but it certainly wasn't this one. So hopefully next year I'll put together a video where I successfully save my apricots. But until then, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.